News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. So our two callers ago in the last segment about Ukraine and Russia. If you're just joining us, earlier today, Russia lowered the threshold for a nuclear response if they're attacked. And the revision is a couple of things. They mentioned the UK is the first candidate for attack, and they adjusted their nuclear doctrine as well, allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles after Biden allowed Ukraine to use their long-range missiles that we have given them, ATACMS, which go up to 190 miles and have various ways of hitting and destroying things. Bomb clusters, bomblet clusters, etc., or just hitting and pulverizing the area of a house, just depending on what you want to do. Today, Ukraine did use those deep in Russia to attack a major base installation that had weapons and caches of missiles and other such weapons. But and now tonight, the Washington Post exclusively reporting that Biden has now approved his anti-personnel mines to be given to Ukraine, which has undone his own policy as of this evening. So you're seeing a complete... I don't think they're going to stop at this. This is a second thing within 24 hours. They're just reversing. And I am very much against this. And I think that, as a general said on Fox News recently, war is begun by mistakes. I know they're at war between each other, but this has not brought us into a wider world war. And I think that it's not Putin bristling with nuclear stuff. He's not going to do nuclear. I am not afraid of Putin. What I'm afraid of is this idiot Joe Biden doing more. He is leaving office in 7 weeks. And what the heck is he doing? This guy is an idiot. He is going to create a world war because of his stupidity and incompetence, making up for his fecklessness for three and a half years. He's now going to unload, almost 4 years, he's going to unload all the weapons and cause a world war and leave it in Trump's lap. This is the time for Trump to get on the phone with these two idiots, Putin and Zelensky, and tell them, you stop this now or this is going to happen. And to do what he needs to do to finish this war now. And yes, undermine this idiot Joe Biden. I am disgusted with this idiot. And now we're going to ship anti-personnel landmines, shipping them. So there's 7 weeks left. Is it going to arrive with 5 weeks left? What is he doing? Is he trying to create a world war? Is he trying to leave Trump a mess? Is this his way of getting back at him? I think it's because he's an idiot, and warmongers and defense contractors and the people in his Defense Department who go in and out of the defense contractors' business are trying to get rich and tell him, oh, you got to do this. You got to do this now. Oh, you got to do it. This is the only way to do it. This is to help him get a victory. It'll give him a better position. And Joe Biden's a dundering fool who's lost half of his mind. Well, yeah, okay. 160 countries have signed on to an international treaty banning their use, noting that indiscriminate weapons can cause enduring harm to civilians. Kiev has sought them for 3 years since Russia invaded. All right. One of our two calls ago, the gentleman mentioned the Budapest memo, which was done in 94. And admittedly, I've heard of it, but I'm unfamiliar with it. And the United States, the UK, and Russia provided security commitments to Ukraine in exchange for relinquishing their nuclear weapons and saying, okay, we will not be a nuclear country. They had nuclear weapons and such left over from the USSR when they broke up. So, and they said, never again, we will never do the Budapest Memorandum again. Well, you made the decision, and you got screwed by one of the three signees, and that's Russia. One of them, Britain, has been half-baked in their ability to help you, or their response to help you, and the other one is us. And it's time for us to end this. They've had 2-3 years. It's over. We're done. I think they're entering the third year of this. It's done. And I know one of our callers 2 calls ago was upset, angry, and was really raising his voice and didn't really want to have a free flow of discussion. But it is what it is, man. Here we are, and we're ending this. That's why we put Trump in office. One of the many reasons why. I wanted to let Jeff in Frisco finish off. Jeff, we're going to give you 30 seconds, and then we got Jerry in Dallas, Chris in Dallas, Bill in Pottsboro, and David in Lancaster. Jeff in Frisco, go ahead. You got 30 seconds.
Right.
I'm literally starting the clock, and that's going to be it.
Gotcha. All right. So Putin is no pussycat. This guy is a trained assassin, okay? And to sit there and say if his back is against the wall, what would it be if he did use a tactical nuclear weapon and said, you pull out or we got more coming? It's easy to sit there and talk tough, all right? But what do you do if he were to do something like that? You have to plan for things like this. What would you do?
Here's how you plan for it. You leave a whole bunch of landmines. Great ability to get that out in 30 seconds, by the way. I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to respond. One line open now at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Here's what you do. You as a plan to try to stop that, you let Ukraine shoot ATACMS missiles inside of Russia with 7 weeks to go. You send it landmines that you haven't allowed it to have for over 3 years. You do all these stupid things in the waning weeks of your administration to cause up a war, to blow up a war. That's what you do. You create the chances for more nuclear war happenings. That's what this idiot is doing, Joe Biden. Now, what you don't do is you don't do all this escalation with 7 weeks left. You put it on pause. You let it go until Trump takes over and let him take it to the next step. It's over. You lost. He's being a complete moron. Anything but the status quo with what he's been doing should not be done. Because we made a decision as this country, and you don't get to blow our country up and blow the world up with 7 weeks left, dude. The only reason you'd be able to do something like this would be if somebody attacked us or one of our immediate allies, not Ukraine, a third world dictatorship, but one of our allies. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Let's go to Jerry. Jerry in Dallas. Hello. WBAP, you're on.
Hey, Chris, love your show. Reason I called is I'm in support of the U.S. missile strikes inside Russia because this whole thing started out just like 1939, and the Russians have been attacking anything, children, men, women, anything, and it's about time that they were able to retaliate.
So have you been, Jerry, aside from this Ukraine thing, have you been itching to hit at Russia?
Yes.
Why have you been itching?
I'm not itching.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're being honest. Why have you been itching to try to hit Russia besides the Ukraine stuff? I mean, what is this? You want to go after and do like George Bush had the doctrine of I can't remember what it was called, but remember we strike the terrorists in the countries they're in before they strike us. Preemption. So are you saying that we should preemptively strike Russia because they're a superpower that could threaten us?
No, they threw the North Koreans in there, and that was the last straw.
Okay, so now you want to go to a world war. You want to actually do so that was the last straw. Now we have a world war, so go in there.
No, I said they escalated the war, and now we're escalating the war.
No. There's 7 weeks left. What are you going to do? Why do you want to escalate with 7 weeks left? What are you going to do?
Do you want all the Ukrainians to be slaughtered?
That's what's that thing called where you say something that's like this is the only thing could happen, so you have to answer a certain loaded question, like it's like you want if you're against me, and I'm not mocking you, Jerry. I'm saying listen, the people that are on your side often will say, well, you're for slaughtering innocent people. And you're coming across as one of those types in a nice way, a genteel way. And you can be against continuing this war and settling it, whether it's done in terms that anybody likes or not. You can be against doing that before settling it and not be for the slaughter of innocent civilians. You know that, right?
Yeah, well, you know what the Russians have done to the Ukrainians, and I'm tired. I'm so sick of it.
Do you feel this way about what other countries do you feel this way about that are not one of our Five Eyes allies, like Britain, some of these critical major G7 type countries or attached to the hip serious allies like Israel or France or Britain, Canada, stuff like that. Who else would you be so strong to go to war for? Because we have allies all over the world.
The Russians need to be stopped.
Why do you want to have a war with the Russians? Then why don't we just strike Russia directly? I mean, it sounds like you've been wanting to strike Russia and just destroy them.
No, that wouldn't be feasible. But
so we wait for a situation where Russia's doing something that we can all agree is wrong, and then we strike Russia.
No, they're doing what they need to do right now. It should have started from the beginning. At the beginning of the war, they had long-range missiles and they were blowing up the Russian supplies. They would have stopped the war.
So why do you want to rush the last 7 weeks of this for what should have been done 3 years ago? What is this? This is foolhardy.
I already know all this. It should have been from the beginning. But
so then why in God's name are we trying to rush this when a new guy's coming in 7 weeks? Why is this?
Well,
when has rushing anything? Tell me this. When has rushing anything, cramming it into the last minute been good for anybody or anything, personally, corporately, or globally?
I don't think that has anything to do with it. The thing is, it was the last straw when they threw in the North Koreans.
Those North Koreans were already thrown in 3-4 weeks ago, dude, and it was in the news 3-4 weeks ago. When it was announced, I'm doing this now. That happened it was in the news 3-4 weeks ago. I'm going to pull up the article from the Wall Street Journal I first read. It was 2-3 weeks ago at least. This is old news. Why is this happening? Why didn't this happen 2-3 weeks ago when it first came out?
Well, Joe Biden's slow.
So you know what? He's going to get us into a war slowly. I cannot believe. Do you trust Joe Biden? Do you trust Joe Biden to do this stuff that you're asking him to do?
I don't trust him.
So then why do you want to do this right now?
The thing is, the Russians been threatening a nuclear thing. They're not going to do that stuff.
I know that they're not going to do that, but let me ask you a question. Why, in God's name, since you and I don't trust Joe Biden, we both think he's an idiot and a fool, why would you want him to escalate this thing when there's 7 weeks left? 7 weeks left. Why would you possibly trust Joe Biden? Why would you want him to do this?
No, I told you they threw the North Koreans in there.
All right, I got to go. Where was Jerry to call in 3-4 weeks ago? And why does he trust Joe Biden all of a sudden to just blow everything up right now? This is insane. People that are, and I'm not being negative on you. I'm just telling you. Yesterday, today, all these people that are supporting Ukraine, they're like, Rah! And I'm like, dude, really, they want to just attack Russia. Why don't we attack China too? Why don't we attack Iran? Let's start a world war. Things are too peaceful around here. Hey, things are great. We don't have inflation. We don't have an invasion going on right now in our country. Things are great. Let's start a freaking world war. Who's with me? Here we go. I'm going to start the first one. Hold on. Oh, wait. Where's this? Okay, there we go. I'm going to start the first one.
You have a legal. I do have a legal.
All right. Thank you. All right. That's it. There we go. Just blow myself up. I'll light my hair on fire and start the war right now. There we go. Wow. Two lines open. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Chris in Dallas, Bill in Pottsboro, David in Lancaster, plus your call. Two lines open. 800-288-WBAP. is our number, 800-288-9227. If you really want us to go after Russia, why don't we attack them directly? And why would you want Joe Biden to be the one that would blow this whole thing up when there's only 7 weeks of his administration left? Why in God's name, if you don't trust him, would you trust him in the next 7 weeks? Seriously, are you kidding me? 800-288-WBAP. Two lines open. We'll get to your call coming up. But if you're just joining us, I will let you know what's really going on here in the Ukraine war, including the latest. Another thing Biden has just rolled out that allows giving more Ukraine more weapons he wouldn't do for 3 years. That's up next in 2 minutes at 9:20 on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Joe Biden says use the 190-mile radius missiles with the ATACMS system, turn it towards Russia and fire away. In response, Russia issues their nuclear response threat, with the UK as the first candidate. Also, they adjust its nuclear doctrine, allowing for the use of these Western-made non-nuclear missiles by Ukraine could lead to a nuclear response under their rules. Also, tonight, Joe Biden rolling back a second thing he has stopped Ukraine from doing. He now has said, yes, we're going to ship you anti-personnel landmines, even though I've said no for 3 years and 160 countries are against it. With 7 weeks before he's out of office, he's doing this. And this man is lighting a massive fire that could lead to a larger war that the left is saying it's all about, if we don't stand up for Ukraine, lead to a larger war. No, this will. All right, one line open, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chris, Dallas, hello. You are on WBAP. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man? I called a little bit earlier. I've been listening to what you've been talking about with everybody and trying to connect the dots in my own mind to what I think is going on here. So, Democrat or not, I have to assume that Biden is surrounded by some of the best minds of our nation. Even though they are Democrat, but they are some of the best minds, right? So they have to help him with these type of decisions. And I think that maybe he's doing this all of a sudden because it is, kind of lining up and coordinating with the Trump, being elected and everything. I think maybe that he is doing this to try to call out Putin's bluff. He doesn't think that anything is going to happen more than it'll get diffused, but Trump is going to spend so much time and effort that he won't be able to focus on his different points that he's trying to address.
I don't think so. I think he's not surrounded by the best minds. He's surrounded by people that think a man with his full junk down there in a skirt and pump should be in charge of running our military. I think we're not around. He is not surrounded by the greatest minds. I don't trust any of them. I'm glad Trump's going to toss out most of them at the top. Two lines open, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Bill, then David, then Matt. You three are back to back to back next. Two lines open. Do you support letting Ukraine fire missiles, United States missiles, into Russia, long-range ones, right before Trump takes over? Do you really think Putin might use nukes as a response to this, as he's threatening? And do you think this could lead to a wider war, even a world war? Which I do, because we're literally all of a sudden introducing all these new things, throwing them in with 7 weeks left before Trump takes over. And why now? Is Biden trying to leave a mess for Trump? Does he want to get us into a world war? Is this his way of getting back at Trump? 800-288-WBAP, two lines open. We get to that next with your call, and I will give you more information on these anti-personnel mines, as the Washington Post exclusively reporting that Biden has all of a sudden, after 3 years, said, okay, now you can use them. Let's make this a real war. That's coming up next on the Chris Crock Show at 33 after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Russia has issued a nuclear response threat today anew, and they have revised it with saying the first candidate for an attack is the UK, and including that threats like the ATACMS missiles that have been long-range missiles that we have given to Ukraine that go up to 190 miles. And they are now, Joe Biden, as of yesterday, unleashed Ukraine to fire them inside of Russia, which they already have done as of today. Hence the timing on the revision of the nuclear policy. And then also the Kremlin was asked, did you do this in response to Biden saying use the ATACMS in Russia now, inside of Russia? And they said we did it in a timely manner, meaning yes, but not directly saying it. Second of all, Joe Biden all of a sudden going back on not only the ATACMS policy yesterday, but tonight actually, breaking from the Washington Post, Biden approves anti-personnel mines for Ukraine, undoing his own policy, saying we will now ship them, even though there's freaking 7 weeks left before he leaves office. This idiot he's dying to make a big, bad, broader war that'll break out into World War. This man is an idiot. He must be stopped. No, I don't think Putin's going to do a nuclear attack. No, I don't think he's going to do nuclear. But tonight we're learning so much more. We're learning that the Russian economy has been hit so badly that 21% is what the central bank has now raised their rates to 21% as human and financial cost of the war, my friend Eric Erickson reports, has devastated the domestic economy. Plants are struggling to find workers as the military has drafted or paid large portions of the population to leave their jobs in joint war. Also, we're hearing tonight from one of our listeners, he says this is a Ukraine friend he has, that says that his brother, I believe it was, or brother-in-law was shot and killed by Ukrainian troops who, as he was returning back from the battlefield, they thought he was an enemy and they shot and killed him. These people they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're conscripted on the Ukrainian side as well, and they are not warriors. They've not been trained up. They didn't sign up to do this. This is how serious mistakes are made, and as a general said on Fox News recently, retired general said, war is begun by mistakes. These mistakes that are happening, or one mistake today or tomorrow or tonight or tomorrow night or in 3 days from now, could lead to an actual real world war. This is insane what is happening. And my questions are, do you support letting Ukraine fire U.S. missiles into Russia right before Trump takes over? Do you really think Putin might use nukes as a response to this? And do you think this could lead to a wider war, even a world war? And why now, when Joe Biden's got 7 weeks left? Is he trying to leave a mess for Trump? Is this his way of getting back at Trump? Or is he just so stupidly incompetent and inept? I think he's trying to rush through and make up for what he hasn't done for 3 years. He's a fool. He's an absolute fool who literally creates wars. This man creates wars. A la Afghanistan leaving, that opened everything up. The horrible Afghanistan withdrawal. Then you have that led to Ukraine. And, if Russia does a smaller incursion, we won't do anything. As 70,000 troops massed around Ukraine. And then after that, you've got funding and arming and funding and allowing the Iranian regime to pump so much oil from 3,000 barrels a day to 300,000 barrels a day. They now supply 1% of the world's oil, giving them $40 billion, $40 to $89 billion, depending on whose estimate you believe, to raise money to pay terrorists and train them to kill Jews, which they did on October 7th. The sick idiot is burning the world aflame, is creating world wars. God help us with this absolute stupidity. Have you ever heard of rushing into something and it working out well? I'm disgusted with this guy. I fear Joe Biden and his ineptitude creating a world war, not Putin. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. We have Bill in Pottsboro first. Bill, WBAP. Hello.
Hey, yeah, this is the Democrats playing chess when we played checkers all the time. You know what's going to happen here strategically? He's going to start this thing up, and then he's going to blame it on. They're going to blame it on Trump, so they can get him out of office, and so they won't have J.D. Vance or anybody else that we want, any Republican, because they're going to be warmongers.
So create a world war and blame it on Trump.
Absolutely.
Okay,
8 weeks after he's in office, all of a sudden we're going to go back to the old way that we used to define inflation, which was two consecutive quarters of negative growth, which we've had, 14 quarters of negative growth, but we're changing that now. That's the old rule. Now we're going to go back to that, and Trump is going to have caused a recession, and then all this garbage, the same stuff they do all the time, the same things the Democrats do all the time. Just like COVID, they had all the you look at the Republican states, you look at South Dakota that didn't shut the world down and didn't close everything down. They did great, but everybody else, the rest of us followed this.
And Florida went back online real fast.
Correct. And those states did just fine through COVID and didn't have all the deaths like everybody else or whatever. It was, it was all the same thing. Obviously no flu, but plenty of COVID deaths. And I'm not saying it wasn't a real deal, but that whole thing was orchestrated and it worked. And we're doing it again. And we're going to let Joe Biden or the people that are pulling the strings behind the scenes make this happen. And then they're going to blame this. All the media is going to blame all this on Trump.
Right.
Now, one thing that they have a problem with is it is Trump, and he does seem to get things done.
Yeah.
So they're not factoring that.
I'm praying. I'm thankful that he can now interact with world leaders and influence policy now. So I'm hopeful that he can stop this real fast. And this is insane what's happening, what I'm watching. David in Lancaster. David, hello. What's up, WBAP?
Hello, Chris.
Hello, sir.
First time caller.
Well, hold on a second. Well, then hold on a second. I got something for you on that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm sitting in the dock loading out for Houston. I'm a truck driver. Also.
Excellent, brother. Excellent.
Listen, I served in East Germany, or not East.
Yeah,
Germany,
I got you. Germany,
West
yeah.
Germany on the Fulda Gap from 1980 to 1983 for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We guarded the Fulda Gap, which is the only place the East Germans and the Russians could come into Western Europe.
Mm.
That was back when they were the Soviet Union, and they were strong. We poked that bear across that fence every time we could. I'm not afraid of Russia by itself. Russia's not that strong.
But with Iran, North Korea, and China.
Well, China's really not dumb. Look at Vietnam. A little history here. Vietnam and Korea, China was all involved. And
of course, communism, yes.
And but Russia, China's not with them as much as you would think. But
well, he met with Putin.
Nobody poking the bear.
He met with Putin before the Olympics, and Xi gave him his blessing to attack at that time.
Right.
So I disagree. Jabba the Hutt is China, and that little puppet sitting on Jabba's lap, yelling, that little one, that's Russia. And I think McCain was right when he said it's a gas station with nukes. Russia is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the gist of what I'm trying to say, Chris, is I served. I saw when Reagan come in, and we really went to. That's, when Gorbachev was over there, and he told Gorbachev to bring the wall down later in the 80s. And he really started poking them. I think Trump's the same way. They don't want Trump in there because Trump will just tell them, well, we ain't playing this game no more.
Right. And I think that Joe Biden's going to... So I do agree with me that Joe Biden is doing really stupid, bad things here that could get us into a war before Trump takes over.
Right. But I believe in
yes, no?
U.S. military.
Yeah, no, but I'm asking you a yes, no. I'm asking you a yes, no question. Do you believe Joe Biden could get us into a war here with all that he's doing here in the last several weeks?
He could, yes, sir. There's no doubt about that. The troops are setting and ready, but that don't mean anything.
Yeah.
We're the better trained army in the world.
But we don't want to go into a world war right now, do we?
No, we didn't want to back in during the height of the Cold War either. But
David, I got to roll, but I appreciate your call. Let me pop in one more. Matt in Denton, WBAP. Hello.
How are you, sir? Or Dobry Večer. I'll just tell you, I lived in Russia for 7 years. I currently, along with my blue and gold passport, carry a maroon and gold passport. I speak to Russian friends every single day of my life.
Okay.
Let me tell you, they don't want a war. They think the same thing that we think about all of our politicians. They don't like them. They love Trump. They think Trump's awesome.
I'm sure they do.
They believe in strength.
Right.
But that's what they love about Putin. When he says something, it's going to happen. Period. End of story. I can remember being there my first couple of years, and it was during the Obama administration, and they had zero respect for him. He was a laughing.
Of course.
Stock. But let me tell you who they loved. They loved Reagan. You know why?
Strength.
Because Reagan was more powerful and overthrew the Iron Curtain.
Yes.
Well, guess what? They don't have any respect at all for the man that made their lives better in Mikhail Gorbachev, because he gave in to Reagan. Mm-hmm. It's about strength. And believe me when I say they don't love Putin, but they respect him. And make no mistake, they don't want war.
Right.
But you know what they want? They just want to be respected on the world stage. And I have no doubt in my mind.
Trump offers that his strength, but he also respects Putin and Russia when he talks.
They have an amazing relationship.
Right.
But what's going to happen leading up to this is, as you said, we got 7 weeks. A lot can happen in 7 weeks. It can't be undone.
Yes. Aren't you worried about? Yes. Go ahead, real fast.
Well, and so are my friends. They're very concerned. My friends overseas.
Aren't you much more afraid of Joe Biden getting us into a world war right now over the next 7 weeks than
That's
Putin?
exactly what I'm talking about. No, it will be Biden's economics. He's the one that said today, or a couple of days ago, you know what? I've said you can't use our surface missiles. Go ahead, man. Have a great time.
And then tonight, anti-personnel mines. All of a sudden, yes, tonight.
Oh, yeah. No one likes landmines. No one. I was in the Air Force. I was going into EOD. Trust me when I say nobody likes landmines. I'm telling you, this man is evil.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden.
Yes.
But here's my biggest problem. I don't think he's making those decisions.
I agree with you.
But I don't know who is.
I agree.
And you can call me a conspiracy theorist.
No,
if you want.
I agree.
I'm not a big guy, but I will tell you this. Russia doesn't want any more escalation. They were perfectly happy to ride this out.
Yeah.
And then the bombs started landing on their homeland.
Yes.
And believe me when they say Mother Russia, they believe it.
This is real scary what Joe Biden's doing. I appreciate your great call, Matt. Keep plugging in with us, calling in as we talk about this more.
Well, you accused me of being a good caller once before, so
I was. Look at me. I'm clearly a brilliant scholar. I was right, and I'm
obviously.
And by the way, you and I are both extremely modest, which is another quality we share. Appreciate your call, Matt.
Cheers.
Thank you. Two lines open. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. We have Brian, Foster, and Sid, plus two lines open. That's you. 800-288-WBAP on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. That's at 9:47 coming up next. We continue to break this down with your thoughts and mine next on the Chris Crock Show on WBAP. Let's get right to you. Ukraine calls Joe Biden on saying you can shoot ATACMS U.S. missiles deep inside of Russia, and they did so today. Putin readjusted his nuclear doctrine, and then tonight Joe Biden says, we also are going to send you anti-personnel mines that I haven't sent you for 3.5 years. Now I'm going to do it. He literally is trying to create a world war on his way out. I am disgusted and frightened, not by Putin, but by Biden tonight. 800-288-WBAP is the number. Brian in Burnett, you're on WBAP. Hello, Brian.
Hi, how are you doing, Chris?
Hi, or is it Burnett? Go ahead, sir.
It's Burnett. That's how they say it.
That's right.
Everybody gets it wrong.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to comment that in my personal view, I don't think that Joe Biden's been pulling any of the strings ever since he's been in office.
I agree, for the most part.
And what I really feel like is that with 7 weeks to go, a lot of folks that are involved feel like this is their last chance to cash in on the biggest money laundering scheme in history.
Or do you think it could be instead that they're just trying to make up for the ridiculous response that Joe Biden has allowed so far?
I think it is a combination of things. That Joe Biden can be left out there is the hapless idiot that went into all these things and did this. Meanwhile, all the handlers behind the scenes who are actually in charge
won't be held responsible.
They're going to get their money.
Right.
And the Biden family is going to get their money, too. It might be held back, let's say 10, 15 years, but money will be flowing to them from this.
I don't know. All I know is that this is how you start a war. Everything they're doing right now is how you start a war. This is a world war.
I certainly agree. And the only reason why you would is because you don't care about anyone other than yourself.
Are you more afraid of Biden, what he's doing right now, than Putin? I sure am.
I definitely am, because the Biden family and the corruption that goes on there, I feel as though they would do anything to anybody in order to get the big payoff. And who knows where they're going to be.
Brian, I appreciate your great call. Foster in Copper Cove, or is it Coppers Cove in Central Texas?
It's Coppers Cove.
Yeah, I thought so. In Central Texas. I know where you're at. You're by Austin.
Yes,
go ahead,
sir.
sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Good to talk to you, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, well, obviously, what's going on? It's the writings on the wall. We've emboldened our enemies, and there's only one proxy war. And the Democrats are obviously they're funding Iran. They want Iran funded. It happened with the end of the Obama administration, and this is what they're doing, dude. They're you see Islam in our schools now. You know, it's a. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I've never been on the radio before.
That's all right. I'm a little nervous too.
I think that it's not a conspiracy. I think Biden is not in charge. Russia doesn't have the nuclear capability to take us out. Obviously, he probably has old nukes.
No, they've got the capability to do it.
And they're trying to keep Israel from taking out nuclear silos, in Iran. And to me, it's despicable.
Well, I'll tell you what, I appreciate your call, Foster, and you can continue to call in, and don't worry about being nervous. It's all good, brother. Thank you for your call. I'll tell you what, we got a little bit more. We got Sid in Dallas, and we have Aaron in Weatherford, plus your calls. We're going to put a bow on this coming up next. But I also want to get into this. Have you heard about a mother arrested and charged for allowing her 11-year-old son to walk a mile into town? And, it gets worse than that from there. And I've got audio and everything. You're going to hear about that next. We're going to see if you think that's a crime as well. After we put this bow on the Ukraine-Russia escalation and stupidity from Joe Biden. All that next on the Chris Crock Show. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Coming up at 3 minutes after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.